Y'all think I was real eager to get up here, but that's not the case. Brad sent an email a couple of weeks ago and said, how about the three VPs doing chapel? And, I'm thinking, no, I'm not doing it. And, Philip and Bill right away just, sure, what do you want me to do? And so I'm sitting there thinking, well, now I'm going to look bad if I don't do chapel. So, and then I think about the last couple of weeks where I've asked Brad to do things for me the last couple of years, and Brad has always said, sure, I'll do it. So this is all on Brad today. And then he gives me leadership and makes Justin come up here and lie about what I'm going to talk about. I got no clue how to tie that into the ramblings I'm going to have today. But so I get leadership from Brad. And I'm thinking, you should have did leadership because this is my third time in like 15 years. I don't get up here. I was just at the doctor's office doing one of those nasty consultations about that stuff you're supposed to drink, and then they do a procedure on you later. And I'm thinking, just do it now. Just do it right now so I don't have to do chapel. And so I get leadership. In the last couple of weeks, I have been saying my new leadership style is just everybody do the right thing. Just do the right thing. And then nobody does the right thing. And then you get to thinking about the Bible, and over again, when people are left to their own desires, they don't do the right thing. They always do the evil thing. So I've always wondered how the people in the Exodus could see all these amazing things, let Moses go up on the mountain, can't wait for him to get back down, and they're doing evil things again. So you got to have a leader, and that just blows up my premise of everybody just do the right thing. So here's the scary thing. Look around at each other for a minute. As soon as you leave HCU, some eldership's going to say, here's the keys. You're going to be a leader right away. So, and some of you might already be. Darren might already have been given the keys. I want to tell you, well, you probably need to run. You probably need to, there are elderships out there that are really strong that won't give you the leadership like that. But I know there's a lot that will, and they'll just hand you the keys and think, it's all on you now. So you've done nothing, but by default, you've been anointed a leader. So what are you going to do? You might find that the devil's going to turn this into an intoxicating power trip and just inflate your ego. When I got out of school many years ago, 1977, my first job, I go there, I'm just going to be the accountant. Not a leader, just going to be the accountant. So I learned that accounting takes about 30 minutes a day. So what do? So I went out there and stood with the parts guys. In less than a year, I could pull parts better than they could. So we fired the parts guys. I had to enter all the bill of sales and wait on the F&I guy to get his work done. So I found it easier. I'll just be the F&I guy and do all the bill of sales. Ended up doing all the warranty work because I knew how to punch it in the computer. Sold cars in my spare time. It wasn't long till I did everything at that dealership. And I passed up jobs that probably would have turned out better but I passed them up because I was the king there. I couldn't wait on Monday morning to get to work. They didn't do anything without me. For 15 years, I stayed there. And after I left, which was really all of a sudden when it wasn't fun anymore for the dealer, because I'm probably doing all the work anyway. He said, it ain't fun anymore, I'm going home. So I realized then that for 15 years, I wasted 15 years. I come out of there with nothing. I didn't get paid very well. He made a ton of money. And I realized, I stayed there way too long. Didn't get retirement. I stayed there way too long because I was the king. And they didn't do anything without me. And there's a really cool Old Testament verse. I'm going to let Nathan and Ed have to tell y'all what it is, because I read it 2 or 3 days ago about the Lord removing a leader when he turns inward and he forgets about the people. Well, I woke up at 2 this morning, thought, I need to find that verse. I looked for it till 4 o'clock, couldn't find it. So there's somewhere that the Lord will take you out if you have turned inward as a leader. So I wind up at my second job in a Mack truck business. And I'm just a lowly accountant. That's all I want to be. I don't want leadership anymore. Just want to go in my office upstairs, mind my own business, and do the accounting. Well, when I first got there, Grant's out there. He knows what I'm talking about. This is bad. But, well, everybody may know here in a minute. We owe $3 million. We have 6 months of payables in checks printed, stacked up that high. But that's not my concern. Just doing accounting. So the lady sitting in my office, that was her job every day. She shuffled them like cards. What am I going to pay today? What am I going to pay today? So I was doing the accounting for about seven of the companies. It took me a little longer than the car dealership to get those under control. And so one day I looked at her. I said, give me those bills. Give me all those checks. So I fight those checks about a year. I do some creative things like call vendors and say, if we don't bring you a check, don't give it to us. Just cut off our credit. Well, it's not long till we're printing money. We've got just unseemly amounts of money. We've got it everywhere. For the first 4 years, the owner never said a word to me. Didn't know who I was. But after I pull this, he's calling me for money. He's calling me to come to his house. We're taking rides together and buying, $3 million companies. So here I am, a leader again. But this is okay this time because I learned from the guy. He was in business for the people. I've seen him buy a house for a lady that couldn't buy a house. I wish I had been there. Selfishly, I wish I'd been there because I know he made 4 of his employees millionaires. I was only there 10 years. And then, here again, it wasn't fun. But I learned from him that's about the people. So check your ego going in. And don't forget, leadership's about the people. People aren't made for leaders. Leaders are made for the people. And the verse, Matthew 20:25, the leadership guru, John Maxwell, says Jesus forever linked leadership to servicehood with Matthew 20:25. You know that the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their high officials exercise authority over them. Not so with you. Instead, whoever wants to be great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be your slave, just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life ransom for many. You know, I have failed HCU if our students, our faculty, staff, board members, donors are not better off because I'm here. Because it's all about the people. So the elders gave you the keys. What are you going to do with them? 1991, December 19th, my oldest turned 16. And of course, a 16-year-old son, he gets the keys. Can't wait to get out. Can't wait to get out with his friends, so he leaves. Well, he's home early that night. And he parks his car on the side of the house and stood out front. So, you know, it's just funny how you think, you know, when you mess up. But anyway, he parks his car on the side of the house. I guess he thinks nobody's ever going to know. How many of you know we hosted an event with John Maxwell? I see 4 hands, and they have broken the rule. We have stricken John Maxwell from the scrolls of Heritage Christian University. We were never supposed to mention the name or mention the event. We were in a year financially challenged. We come to February, late in the year. We think we're not going to make it. So we get the idea, we're pros. We do this a heritage event that's coming up next week. We'll just take the show on the road, book John Maxwell, and we'll pack the Von Braun Civic Center. So we go to the Von Braun Civic Center with John Maxwell. Lose $60,000. So now we're already behind, a couple $100,000, not going to balance the budget. Now we're down another 60. And what we decided to do with that, we said, we're never to speak of John Maxwell again. It wasn't wrong to try John Maxwell. It's wrong not to learn any from John Maxwell. So we didn't learn anything from that event. Michael Jackson has turned us on to a pretty good book about leadership written by a Rabbi Jonathan Sachs. And I've cheated and went a little further ahead in the book where he talks about the Torah. And it's funny to me to have a book written by a rabbi on leadership when the greatest leader's not in the book. But Ed and there again, these Hebrew wizards will have to parse these words. I'm not going to take my time to look. I'm going to trust the book. That in talking about the sin offerings for the different classes or different people, he says the Hebrew says the high priest, the whole community, and the leader. Well, high priest, whole community, leader, and the individual. The Hebrew word introducing the law on 3 of those said, if you sin. The Hebrew word on the leader says, when you sin. So all of you leaders, and you're going to mess up. And when you mess up, you just need to man up and admit you're wrong. Don't let your ego win out and convince you that you cannot or did not do anything wrong. You know, you need to treat your mistakes as opportunities to learn. My second boss in the Mack truck business, after 4 or 5 years and we're printing money, I lose $120,000 I did of his money. He sends me up to a lady called him, said, hey, I'm in trouble. I tried to open one of these nurse practitioner. Well, it's a Med Plus, before Med Plus. So she said, I'm in trouble. I tried to open this. I don't have enough money. I need some money. So William looks at me and says, hey, go up there and check it out. So I go. And I think it's fantastic. Great idea. Everybody's going to make money. We're going to help this lady, which is that's what he likes to do. And we're going to bring some money home. So I fight that thing about 2 years. End up losing $120,000. William said, oh, well. And, you know, we talk about it. Here we were Mack trucks, salesmen, Mack truck mechanics, and we were going to go up there and sell drugs and shots. And, you know, the mistake wasn't that we tried to do it. The mistake probably was we need a little more expertise in there. Need to talk to a few people. But the timing may have been bad. Now you see Med Plus everywhere. So, and you know, we would have been cutting edge had we pulled that off. But we lost and got out. I knew Joe wrecked his car that night. There wasn't any hiding it. And you know, until you man up and admit it, until you establish the facts, you know, you can't move on and fix it. John Maxwell told a story of an old businessman that would say, you know, I never let my people see me sweat. I never let them see my weakness. John said, your people already know your weakness. So what's the difference in Saul and David as leaders? Both of them messed up. Both of them did terrible things. In 1 Samuel, Saul messes up. And it wasn't his fault. This is not my fault. It's somebody else's fault. It's your fault you were late. It's people's fault. And the prophet told him, your kingdom's been taken away. David messes up. I guess later in 2 Samuel. He acknowledges his sin. And the prophet says, the Lord is taking away your sin. So, you're going to mess up. Just do the right thing with it. Thank you.